Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Living Astrology with Janet. It's time to grab your cup of coffee or your tea. Just sit back while we chat about all the things that are happening up in the sky over this 3-day weekend. And believe it or not, there's a lot going on. I was getting tired of writing everything right out because there was so many things. Now, luckily, for all of us, I actually have taken you through most of the information because a lot of what happens this weekend includes Mercury. And remember, last week's show, we talked about all things Mercury, right? The magic of Mercury from mid May to the end of May, and even, just into the beginning of June. And I cannot believe it, but here we are sitting at Memorial Day weekend. I really thought it was next weekend. And then I don't know, I looked at my calendar, I'd blocked it all off wrong, so it was crazy. And, we're leaving to go camping, which I'm loath to do because I have so much other stuff to do, but I also need the time to just chill, right, without, any phones because there's no cell service where we're going, so, that's what we're gonna do. So I hope you all have some plans for the weekend. My son is working, so he's like, "What 3-day weekend?" And I'm like, "This one, right? This one, take the time." And in behind the scenes, we were all talking about time, how time has flown because we can't believe it's already Memorial Weekend, and we are just a month away from the summer solstice, or in the northern hemisphere anyway, and that's unbelievable as well, right? The year just started, didn't it? So today we have a lot to talk about. I have a lot of transits that are going on, but the primary thrust of what I want to talk about is the new moon. And that's because likely I won't be on air on Monday. I don't know when we'll be getting back and whether I'll have time to create a broadcast. But the good news is next week I have a Wednesday broadcast talking about all of the energies that are coming up for the month of June. And I'll also be on air next Friday. So you'll miss me Monday likely. It'll be a surprise if I get home in time to be able to do that. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you all the information that you need to get through not only the weekend, but also Monday and Tuesday at least until I see you guys next Wednesday. All right, let's dive in, shall we? What we have going on is a momentous weekend because not only because it's Memorial Day weekend and Janet's going camping, but because Saturn is moving into Aries on Saturday tomorrow. And it's momentous because not because it's just a sign change for Saturn, because Saturn changes size every, 2.5 years or so. So, it's not that uncommon for Saturn to move into a sign, but it is the first sign of the zodiac. Momentous because Saturn isn't the only one that's just moving into Aries. It's also Neptune, and they are coming right into a conjunction at the 0 to 1 degree. Neptune right now at 1 degree of Aries. Saturn will be at 0, and it seems to be a harbinger of this world of change and transformation that we are in. And Saturn moving into the sign of Aries, begins the whole round of the zodiac, right? The all of the 12 signs begin with Aries energy. So it's a powerful initiation moment, as in Saturn is about form and structure, but Aries is a cardinal sign, meaning it's about new beginnings. It's about initiation, starting something, right? Getting the ball rolling in a new direction. And in Saturn's case, he's moving from the dreamy, boundary dissolving energy of Pisces into the bold, action oriented sign of Aries. I feel like Saturn is going to be a more prominent player in our world for the next 2.5, 3 years in Aries, more so than he was in Pisces. However, in Pisces, there has been a lot of change, on the spiritual dimension with Saturn and Pisces. But Saturn here in Aries is calling for responsibility in leadership and our claiming of our sovereignty. Again, you've heard me say this word, I don't know how many times. I should count. I should go back through all my broadcasts and see how many times I've said this word. But it really is, it denotes the time that we are in and what it is that we as individuals are really resonating with. And it is also another phrase we could use would be sacred individuality, right? Your sacred individuality, your sovereignty, but also all of that being applied in the world with responsibility, right? That's the other key thing with Saturn. Now, if we look at this through the human design lens, then we see Saturn is moving right in, has been already, into the gate 25, which is the gate of universal love. So we're structuring our lives going forward with universal love. I would say that the world right now is not loving. There's nothing loving about what's going on in the government. There's nothing loving going on sometimes within the communities that we see. But yet there's this very powerful call for us to move back to purpose, and altruism, humanitarianism. That's a big Pluto and Aquarius word, altruism and humanitarianism, and healing through authenticity, each being our own true expression of ourselves. And as we go through the weekend, it's not on Saturday, like today's blank, basically. There's, other than the fact the moon is sitting here in no, today, yeah, the moon is in Aries today. That's funny. Is the moon and nope, it's going to conjunct. It already did that. Okay. I was thinking, oh, we're going to have a powerful moon conjunct Saturn as he moves over, but it's already happened. But we also have other transits going on tomorrow that really kind of bring some other key elements out, if you will. And the very first one I want to talk about is the sun in a trine to Pluto. So the sun now in Gemini. Gemini is an air sign. Pluto is in Aquarius, another air sign. So that sets up this flow of energy of air. So it's a very airy kind of time that we're in. And this is deep transformational energy, and it feels empowering, not threatening, right? This is our ability to shine our purpose, shine our minds even into the transformation and empowering of Pluto energy. It's not necessarily a day where something, big might happen. This is like over time, this is bearing out for us as a way to like set up a long-term vision for our lives, for your purpose, for where you want to go, who you want to be, what you want to do. And at the same time, Pluto, anytime he enters into the conversation with another planet, he's also representing the shedding of something. What are we letting go of? Right? What are we um, moving away from in order to become empowered, or in order to really shine our light as bright as we want to shed it or shine it. So by shedding, we shine brighter. It's like cleaning the lenses, right? You get the grime off the lenses and suddenly you see clearer. So the sun trine Pluto over the weekend, giving us this opportunity to see the long-term vision, but through a clearer lens when we are willing to let go of what no longer suits us, what no longer fits, right? At the same time, on Saturday, Mercury is conjunct Uranus in Taurus. They're at the 25th degree. So if you find Taurus in your chart, then you'll see where all of this is happening. And by the way, I should be sharing my screen. So let me do that real quickly here so that you guys can see. I can't make this bigger when I share it this way, but hopefully you can see it pretty well. So we have the Saturn entering into Aries, and Aries is the sign right here that looks like the ram's head, right? The V, stylized V. Here is Saturn, and here is Neptune. Okay, so this is, by the way, the chart of the new moon, which is actually Monday's chart. So don't get confused. I set this up so that we could see the impact of all the upcoming transits and not just today's. But this is where Saturn will be, and in the conjunction to Neptune. And then the sun is in Gemini right here, and it will be in the trine to Uranus. Um, excuse me, sun in the trine to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, and that's right here. So we see this connection from the sun, and in the new moon, we'll see it as well, connected there. And then Mercury conjunct Uranus, they're moving in to the 27th degree, but in this chart, Mercury's already in Gemini because, again, this is the new moon chart. So we have this major conjunction right here. This is the planet Uranus, and Mercury sitting there on Saturday in that conjunction before he moves into the sign of Gemini. So with Mercury conjunct Taurus in this whole, or conjunct Uranus and Taurus in this whole mix, we have these electric insights that are possible, these flashes of aha, right, or epiphany moments, maybe flashes of genius, we could call it, as there's this moment where crystal clarity can come in because we're joining the higher mind, Uranus and Taurus, with the lower mind, Mercury, conjunct Uranus and Taurus. And together, they can help us see the path to move forward, right? The next steps, if you will, because remember, Taurus has this sort of comfort zone that it's been in. Not that it's been stuck so much, because so much else has been going on. It's been, prompting us at every turn to move, to do something different. But because this is like that moment where you get that kind of clarity that says, now I know what to do. Now I know where to go. Now I know who I am. Now I know my purpose, on and on, right? Wherever this is happening in your chart. So you want to find the Taurus part of your chart as well for the weekend, because this is the sign for Taurus. It looks like a bull, or at least the bull's head. And then that house would be the area of your life where this incoming flash of insight is like affecting your life or impacting your life. And by the way, this doesn't just happen tomorrow. It could happen today. It could have happened already this week. It could happen Sunday, Monday at the new moon. Well, the new moon would be the better time to take action on what that aha was. But at the same time, these transits don't happen exactly on that day, right? They can happen before, during, or a little bit after. And this could be unpredictable. And because Mercury also rules conversation or speaking, there could be some unpredictable conversations going on, and maybe some sudden breakthroughs, right? If especially within a conversation, when you get this aha. And as well, because Uranus is always about surprises, tech issues, computer issues, um, mishaps with your emails, things like that, kind of a little bit of that retrograde feel just because of the unexpected nature of the conjunction. But because again, it's Taurus energy, this could be grounded brilliance where you get the downloads. This is about trusting the downloads, but tethering them to something very practical, something very earthy. Those pie in the sky moments, finding their feet and landing on the earth and allowing us to see what the next steps would be, or to actually make practical uh, forward motion, right? Now, this conjunction is happening in the gate 3. We talked about that a little bit um, last week, I think it was. And the gate 3 is called the gate of innovation. And it's about unexpected breakthroughs. Imagine that, right? And how we organize ourselves to try new things or to do new things. And the one issue that comes up with the gate 3, in the I Ching, it is, I think, called trouble in the beginning, where any innovative idea or any innovation creates a need for change, right? Or we have to move something along. And that takes time. It's almost like when you press on the gas of your car, you're not automatically going 60 miles an hour, right? You're slowly building up the speed. Well, that's what the gate 3 does. We have this new innovative idea, but it takes time to gain momentum. And of course, that means there can be frustration involved, but it is such a call for change, right? It is such a call for innovating and being different in your life, right? So we all have that going on Saturday. Now, Sunday, May 25th is Sunday. We have Mercury entering Gemini. So he goes right from his conjunction with Uranus into the sign of Gemini and closes in on the sun and moon for the new moon. And Mercury is returning to his sign of rulership, right? He's in a sign that he is very comfortable in when he gets to Gemini. And Gemini energy is fast thinking. It can be witty energy, it's curiosity, and it's a lot of thought processes. And the tendency can be sometimes for us to get overwhelmed with the vast number of thoughts coming in, right? It was funny yesterday. I was doing a lot of work at my desk, trying to get things ready so I could go away for the weekend. And I had like five, no lie, five different things I was in the process of. And I'm thinking to myself, no, this is manifesting generator energy. I felt it, right? And aren't we in the time of the manifesting generator archetype in human design? The sun at gate 20, the earth at gate 34. And I found myself doing this, like, playing in five different things. I got them all done, and I had to remind myself to slow down in the process because going too fast and skipping steps for a generator like me would be problematic. And hopefully I haven't, created a bunch of errors that I have to fix later for myself. But that's the thing that's going on right now. Things are moving fast. And now with Mercury stepping into Gemini, it might get that much faster. Eek. Right? So it's great energy for learning. It's great energy for teaching. And it's for marketing and all of the things that Mercury and Gemini is known for, even multitasking, but avoid overwhelm because if you get too much going on, it can really create havoc, right, in your life. So be aware, right? Be aware. And the human design shift here over, we'll go through that here in a minute because there's a new human design week on the horizon as well. But I'll take that up in a different so I can have the chart. So let's go on to the other thing happening on Sunday, which is Mercury in a sextile to Saturn. So we have Mercury that will be newly in Gemini, and we have Saturn newly in Aries, right? So we end up with a sextile, a 60-degree relationship between Mercury in Gemini and Saturn in Aries. And, the interesting thing about that time is that there's this call for us to start something new, to initiate. And then we have all of this Gemini energy of the mind that can actually, start to coalesce into some kind of plan. But it can also create um, uh, a lack of commitment on our part, right? Because there's this flighty sort of energy and Aries Saturn wants structure in order to initiate. So we'll have to commit to a plan and write it down or speak it with someone, speak it with authority to whomever you're speaking with. And the insight that Mercury just gathered with its connection to Uranus now can get grounded in as maybe something you want to teach or something you want to use to guide others or the bringing up to you someone that could be your guide or your teacher or your wise messenger or you're playing the role of the wise messenger. So I find this really fascinating. And then if you really look at, well, where's Pluto in this? Right now, we still have this trine between Gemini and Aquarius energy with Pluto. So we have transformation and empowerment down. We have Saturn's structuring of a new or a new initiative or something new that you're taking on, even with Neptune here, a new spiritual foundation that's working well with Mercury and eventually the sun and moon at the new moon in Gemini. So it's kind of a time where a lot can get accomplished, I think. We can. It's funny that it's happening all in a weekend that is a holiday weekend. But for those people who are in the midst of something, there's a lot that can get done. So good days. Now, when we go to Monday, we are at the new moon in Gemini. and that's later in the day. It happens at 11:03 p.m. on the East Coast. That'll be 8:03 p.m. on the West Coast. If you are across the Atlantic, of course, that puts it into May 27th, not the 26th. So we have this bridge time of this new moon across the world where happening on one day for some people, happening the next day for others. And yet the energy is the same, right? The sun and the moon are coming into their conjunction at 6 degrees 6 minutes of Gemini. And the theme is going to be about curiosity and connection, opening your mind. There's a lot to talk about with that, and maybe seeds of, fresh new ideas, things that you want to learn, or how you want to get involved in your community, how you want to get involved in conversation with others. And the human design sun will be and moon will both be at gate 16, and that is a gate of enthusiasm. We're going to break, I'm just giving you the overview because I'm going to break each of those things down here in a little bit. Now, also during Monday's new moon in the evening, there is a Mercury sextile Neptune transit going on. So, Mercury's communication and the mind, and Neptune has this very poetic and sort of dreamy spiritual thrust to it. And so, what we're mixing here are maybe poetic words, spiritual insights, softened conversations, right, where they can be more caring and compassionate. It's ideal energy on Monday for intuitive writing or dreaming out loud or creating some visionary content or artistry. It's a gentle aspect that really balances that sharp mind energy of Mercury and Gemini. So I think it kind of makes everything softened and uh, more dreamy aspects to it. Tuesday, May 27th, Mercury trines Pluto, which we were just talking about. You could see it building here at the new moon. And again, this is the mind meeting transformer empowerer Pluto. So we have laser like insight, possibly, right? We get this aha moment. Or profound communication with others, and maybe the regeneration of some thoughts or some ideas. As they come in, we can start to use them, and it's really excellent for soul level conversations that you might need to have with people, for doing deep investigative research, perhaps, or just teaching, either teaching or listening to what could become transformational thoughts or transformational energies in your life. And Mercury at that point will be in gate 20. And we've had the sun at gate 20. So we're familiar with this gate, which is like patience. You need patience and being in the now, right? Bringing the mind out of its, crazy, wild shenanigans right into this now moment and focusing, right? Focusing your energy. All right, that takes us through Tuesday. All right, questions. I'm going to stop sharing here for a minute just so I can see how everybody's doing out there. And let's take that out of there for a moment. Okay. Hi, everyone, again. Let's see who's out here this morning. I saw Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel. Thank you for reminding everybody to please thumbs up the video if you are on YouTube, and like the video if you are on Facebook. And of course, please share it with your friends or your networks. Let's keep the word going about astrology at this level, right? J-Lo, good morning and happy Friday to you as well. And let's see, we have time is flying by for us. Indeed, it is Mary Stevens. Good morning and happy Memorial Weekend to you. Julie, good morning. And Teddy, hello to you. Christine Buckingham, hello. Peggy Ann, good morning. And Asa, good morning. Tom, hello to you too. And anybody else out there listening from behind the scenes, thank you for joining us this morning. Um, there was something I was just going to say, dang it, and it went out of my head. Let me go back. Oh, I want to try something, okay? Because there's this new thing going on in StreamYard where I can show comments on the stage. So I'm not sure what that looks like. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but here we go. Somebody say a comment, say something, anything, so that if we can see if it's going to show up, or maybe I will. Testing. Nope, it's not showing up on my screen. Oh, yes, it is. There it's populating. Okay, but it's teeny tiny. Tom, a comment. Thank you. Can always count on you to be there, right? um, okay, J-Lo, thank you. Okay, so I don't know if that's distracting or what. You guys might have to tell me how that looks to you, and I might have to turn it off when I'm sharing my screen just so we don't have that popping up over whatever it is that I'm sharing. So okay, let's go back now. Let me add this to the stage, and I'll just leave it on for a moment and see what happens when I do this. Okay, so it stays off to the right. All right, so that's good. Now I can actually see your comments while I'm talking. So if you have questions, yeah, it is very small. I'm sorry. But I can see it a little bit bigger because I have it open to full screen. So hopefully I'm going to leave it up and we'll just see how it plays out. If you have questions about the next thing we're going to talk about, which is going deeper into the new moon, then I can answer it on the fly because I'll see it. I hope. We'll try it. I'm a Gemini. I'm always up for something new. New moon in Gemini. Again, May 26th at 11 what was it? Oh, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. I mean, excuse me, on the East Coast, and that makes it 8:03 p.m. on the East Coast, West Coast. I don't know where I am. And if you are in the Universal Time Zone, UTC time zone, it'll be 3:03 a.m. on May 27th. So coming up over this weekend. And it is an interesting new moon. This new moon doesn't just whisper a new idea, it's kind of giving ideas wings, right? A blueprint and the courage for us to follow through with those ideas. So I find it very exhilarating almost in anticipation where I'm sitting at today here on Friday waiting for a new moon coming on Monday. It feels like excitement, right? It feels like something's building. And it is a conjunction of the sun and moon. That is what the full moon or new moon is all about. And it happens to also sit in conjunction with Mercury. And you'll notice that, they're together, but the Mercury is at 2 degrees, the new moon is at 6. So we have 4 degrees. So we still have Mercury applying to the conjunction of the sun and the moon. So it's a possibility that, ideas that are, sudden insights, those things, that come up might happen anytime before that new moon, anytime during the new moon, and even after the new moon. So if you don't have this aha light bulb moment on Monday, or Tuesday, even if you're, in the middle of the night in UTZ time zone, don't panic because it could be anytime later as Mercury is still in his process of moving through here. And this new moon isn't just about planting seeds as that we usually think of the new moon. This one is really broadcasting new codes to us. I feel very strongly that there are new codes that are being downloaded to us human beings. And it creates issues for us sometimes where, we get ill or we fall asleep or we are, in a dream zone. And you can just think about this new moon as a time when some of those odd things that your body is going through is a process of really being upgraded or recoded in some way. Remember, we're very close to a human design upgrade, if you will, in 2027. And those things can happen, I suppose, on a dime, but there are other things that are going on as well planetarily. And the sun, just being crazy in its activity, the galactic center also ramping up that cosmic energy. We talked about that a week or two ago. And so there's a lot of neutrinos, there's a lot of gamma rays, there's a lot of cosmic rays that are kind of entering into the Earth system. And you are part of the Earth. So it's hitting all of us. So this, Mercury in this conjunction to the sun and moon is really about, keying in on your thoughts and your words and your ideas and recognizing how much power they hold to create your reality. And this is, Mercury coming into a cazimi, an exact conjunction to the sun in just a day or so after this new moon, and it really creating the opportunity for another integration point, if you will, of all of the things that have been happening, all of the ideas, all of the changes, all of the, um, information. But we can expect, this cosmic download energy, if you will, to bring sudden insights. There is that. It kind of matches with the Mercury conjunction to Uranus um, on Sunday. And yet there's this nervous excitement. I'm sort of feeling it, right? It's like kind of charging us up. And a need to express and to connect with others is possibly coming up with this. And breakthroughs in speaking and writing or decision making, right? If you've been stumbling over having to make a major decision, that may suddenly open up for you. If you've been writing something and you've had writer's block, this may open that up for you. And also, if you've been needing to have a conversation with someone, this may suddenly provide you the opportunity to open that up. Now, this conjunction of Mercury, the sun and the moon right here. I hope you guys can see my cursor moving around here in Gemini is trine to Pluto in Aquarius, right? So we were talking about that. And as it's a part of the new moon, it is empowered to play into the new beginning energy, right? To the dark of the moon here. And this trine adds depth and potency to all of that awareness, that soul level awareness that you may be, it might be dawning on you certain things at this moment. And it might add that depth to what you're saying and or what you're thinking. And it's not just chattering energy, it could be very transformational. So listen. Listen, part of Gemini energy isn't just about the talking, it's about the listening. It's 50-50, right? Listening, 50-50 speaking, right? Those are both important. So, what we have is an opportunity to reclaim our voice from our past silence. So, if you have been holding back, not saying what you wanted to say, then here it is, right? Your opportunity to it's not just the opportunity to say to use your voice, it's about speaking with purpose. But not just persuasion, like I can persuade you to do something, but with real authority and, kind of putting some real empowerment into your voice. And maybe even an opportunity to consciously reprogram your mind and your habits so that you can live healthier, you can speak clearer and with more authority. And wherever this new moon is, wherever Gemini and Aquarius are in your chart, in these two houses, this relationship that's happening between Pluto and the new moon is also happening in key areas of your life. If this was a person, this would be something about the workplace, something about health and wellness and well-being and healthy habits established that would form a transformation that would impact the second house of earnings, of resources, of self-worth and worthiness. So we would see some kind of dynamic becoming empowered between these two areas of the life of this person, if this were a person. Right. So take a look at where Gemini and Aquarius are in your chart. This is what Aquarius looks like, the little waves, and Gemini looks like the Roman numeral 2. And find out the house, right? What houses are they happening in for you? Now, there's also the sextile to planets in Aries, and I've already told you guys to watch out where Aries is in your chart because um, uh, n- uh, see, I knew comments were going to get distracting for me. Teddy, I can't put Facebook comments anywhere. It's just flowing, and maybe I'll just turn that off for now, so it's not so annoying to everybody. And go back here. Okay. So I don't see those comments anymore, but I will go back as I always do to see if you guys have comments. So the sextile pattern between Saturn and Neptune in their conjunction to Mercury, Sun, and Moon in the new moon is also very powerful. And it creates, the three of these create a minor grand trine. And I highlighted the minor grand trine here. You can see it. It looks like this triangle, right? Or the point of an arrow or an arrowhead. And I want you to become very familiar with a minor grand trine. And by the way, if you guys are in the membership this morning, I will be adding a whole piece of information about the minor grand trine, right? A PDF file about more information on how to work with this, what it means, and why we should care, right? Because it's this one right now: Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and eventually when Uranus moves into Gemini, which is just in early July, we will have this minor grand trine sticking with us until 2027, 2028. A long time, off and on, right? As these planets jockey positions around the early degrees of the signs that they've just moved into. But right now, the new moon and Mercury are sitting in that spot rather than Uranus. So, there is this potential here for us to get our feet wet, if you will, in living with a minor grand trine. And it is a time where, Saturn right here leading the way for structure and long term vision to be a part of our conversation, a part of our evolution, and Neptune inspiring us spiritually, right? Oh, or our creative imagination being stimulated by that being in this minor grand trine. And together these guys are all building a foundation for a dream that can be built, right? This is where dreaming meets doing. And the it- saying, if you build it, they will come, right? What movie was that? I know what movie that was, but if you build it, they will come. If you build it in your life, you can do it, right? You can make something of yourself or make something of the project, right? You just have to do. Now, this new moon is also in an inconjunct to the black moon Lilith, almost exactly. The black moon Lilith is at 648 of Scorpio and the new moon at 606 of Gemini. So here's where the friction comes in the new moon, right? Here's where it gets scritchy because the black moon Lilith, first of all, it's the inconjunct. That's the scritchy part, right? You have to do a lot of work to be able to see eye to eye between Gemini and Scorpio energy because they're not in the same element. They are not in the same, they don't do things the same way. There's just, some kind of disruptive energy between the two of them. And yet, with this inconjunct to the black moon Lilith at the new moon, there's something hidden, perhaps, or something unspoken that's pushing in to your life, maybe at the edges, right? Something that just keeps coming up, something that just keeps, tickling your brain. And Lilith in Scorpio, she's demanding emotional truth and integration of the shadow energies. So the wounds likely are coming up in some way, right? We also know Chiron and Eris are in a conjunction. I didn't point that out here, but you can see it. There's Chiron and Eris. And that's, the discord and disruption as well, that is in the background. But now Lilith in Scorpio demanding that shadow energy that you're carrying be integrated into yourself fully, or at least it's an opportunity for us to do that. The quincunx or the inconjunct may stir discomfort around being vulnerable enough to share your emotional self or to integrate the parts of yourself that come up as shadow. It could embody some feminine rage, right? Where the feminine is being held back, held down, or being truly seen. That's another big theme that's coming up, being really truly seen for who you are. So the message in the inconjuncts playing into of Lilith playing into this new moon is really about you can't rewrite your narrative without first acknowledging what was left unsaid, what was in the shadow, what have you not totally integrated. Now you can move ahead without full integration as long as you're willing to integrate what is showing up in the moment, right? Because so many times there's these layers. You've heard, that, our emotional selves are like layers of an onion. You peel back one layer and then boom, there's another part of that wound and so on. So make sure that you are willing to do the work that you need to do to work with the shadows of this so that you can rewrite your narrative. And then I also noticed, and this is the T square between the opposing north and south node. They always oppose each other, so that's not weird. But they're both pointing over here to Jupiter in Gemini in the latter degrees. They're all sitting at about that 24, 25-degree mark. And, the north node is our destiny. Where are we going? And the south node is where we've been, or the gifts and the talents that we have. And it's in Virgo, while the north node's in Pisces. And this T square is kind of like a crossroads, and it's of karmic proportions, and it might even be more exaggerated because it's Jupiter that's holding the point, right? So hopefully, whatever it is that needs to change in your life is really in your face, right? It's really right there in your face, and it's not hidden anymore here, right? It should be very clear. And the North Node in Pisces is your soul's path forward toward unity, and also, through surrender and spiritual wisdom, gaining your spiritual chops, if you will. And the South Node in Virgo would say, let's let go of perfectionism. Let's stop the over analysis. It taxes the mind too much. And let go of control. Control. And Jupiter in Gemini at the apex point. So this is in a T square, this is where the energy has to flow out, right? This is the flowing part. And it's a tension point, right? The apex is a tension point. And what we're being asked to do is expand our minds beyond what we think, right? To see the bigger picture, Jupiter, the bigger picture, expand your vision, expand your voice, right? Expand your voice. Stop being quiet about everything. Now, you don't have to yell and scream from the mountaintops, but, where have you been holding back what it is that you need to say, what it is that you need to share, the work that you're doing behind the scenes that needs to be put out into the world? And it's also expansion of choices. And therein can lie some of the other little issues of this particular new moon is that there are so many choices. What do I pick? What do I use to, move forward with? What's my next step? And I have wisdom around that for you, and that is to go to your human design, right? Your human design tells you what it is that you use to make decisions. How do you make the best decisions, right? Based on your type and strategy and your authority. And that is going to help orient you to choose the right options. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you got to hit me up and ask me the question, what's my type and strategy, right? Every type has its own way of entering into life, and your authority tells you how it is that what extra tools you have on your tool belt that will help you make the best decisions. So all in all, the T squared presents us with pressure, and it's the pressure to grow beyond limited beliefs and to speak your truth and to do it with heart and meaning and not just noise and facts, right? That is kind of, all just going in one ear and out the other. But when you present something with heart and you present something with meaning, kind of attaching it to a meaning, it has its way of shining brightly, right? All right. Looking at the minor grand trine again, we have this deep empowered thinking and kind of this empowered thinking and communication with the trine here between Mercury, Sun, Moon, and Pluto. And then we have, the sextiles that carry on with Mercury and the Moon and the Sun here with Saturn and Neptune over here. So now we have practical support for our spiritual inspiration, for our ideas, for our initiations. And then Pluto also in a sextile to Saturn and Neptune. We have transformation now through structured spiritual action, not just willy-nilly running off in all different directions, but kind of structuring what action it is that we are going to take, and grounding that, as it were, in spirituality, or in with spirit. So this minor grand trine is so interesting to me. I just am fascinated by it suddenly, because it's a rare and supportive kind of portal. You can think of it as this, dynamic energy that helps you ground in your ideas, Gemini part of it, fuel them with soul purpose and imagination, the Aries Neptune part of it, and then back them up with empowerment and with depth with Pluto over here in Aquarius. So it's like a three-legged stool, right? That we're using at this point in time, where Gemini says, "Let's talk, let's write, let's dream out loud." And Aries energy says, "Let's commit, let's believe, and let's initiate." And then the Aquarius says, "Let's liberate, let's regenerate what's possible for the future." And so this aspect pattern that is carrying on in one way or another for many years now creates this container for inspired action, right? Where ideas don't just float, they stick, they grow roots, they shape your life or reshape your life in some way. It's huge. All right. I'm going to stop sharing this one, and I'm going to switch to human design. I have 15 minutes left. Good. Three-legged stools are difficult to I get it, Tom. That's funny. Scream from the mountaintops. Okay, got it. Field of Dreams. Thank you, Christine. I knew I would get it eventually. And Christine has Aquarius 10, Gemini 2, Taurus 1. You're very activated then at this new moon. So, what is taking shape in your life? What new ideas? What's integrating into your life that has not been well integrated before now? So we can look at all of that. Now I'm going to add to the stage here the human design um, chart for this weekend. And essentially, the human design week is getting ready to shift at the new moon. So we have new. I had to actually go look up the degree of the new moon to tell whether it was still in the gate 20 and 30, or 2034, or is it going to be in the gates 16. And sure enough, 16 is where it is actually at. So the 16 is up here. So the sun is in the gate of enthusiasm on the throat center. And it's inviting you to express your ideas, your passion, and to do it with boldness, right? To do it with enthusiasm, or in quantum human design, to do it with zest. And, joy. That's, speaking your passion should be something that is done with joy. And the energy is encouraging you and all of us to do what we love, to master what we love, and to share that with other people. And it inspires us through our dedication, or maybe we are inspiring others through our dedication to what we love and to the expression of our joy in the world. So it's not just about this superficial surface sort of excitement, it's about deeply sort of practiced aliveness, right? You're expressing your passion, you're living your passion, and it's written all over you. It's written all over your energy signature at this particular time. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the earth is grounding us into the gate 9 on the sacral center. And the gate 9 is called the gate of focus. In quantum human design, it's now called the gate of convergence. I kind of like focus because it gives me something more to focus on. But we're being grounded in the gate 9, and it is offering us the energy to kind of concentrate our power and our voices and refine our attention toward that which is most important, or what truly matters to you. What's the most important thing for you to focus on? And yesterday, as I remember, I told you I had all of these projects going on. One thing I kept doing for myself was coming back to what's the most important thing I need to get done right this moment, right? If I can complete this thing, then it's off my plate, and I can come back to the other 15 things here on my desk. Wasn't really 15, but it was close. So together, these two gates are really helping us to be purposeful in our enthusiasm, right? We can be enthusiastic about 10 different things, but do we really have the time Do we really have the brain space to take action purposefully on all 10? No, but the energy out there is so vast right now that we might be very tricked into trying to do everything. So try to focus on what is most purposeful, what is most impactful and important to you, what truly matters in the grand scheme of things. So if we look at this through the gene keys, we see the gene key 16 moves from the shadow of indifference to the gift of versatility, and the ultimate is the gift or the siddhi of mastery. So we're walking the path of indifference to mastery through being versatile, right? Being flexible. And the earth in the gene key 9 moves from inertia to determination, and then to the siddhi of invincibility. I love that, invincible. We are invincible. So we're walking the path of inertia to invincibility through determination, right? Being determined. So this is a week, the whole week as we move forward from the new moon on is a powerful time to refine your skills, refine what your work is, refine your health, your finances, whatever area of life this is happening in for you. Stay the course and ignite your joy, not by chasing every spark, because that will waste energy, tire you out. By committing, though, to the fire that truly lights you up, then you find yourself in the right place at the right time with the right opportunities, right? And I did add here to this picture the gate 25. So you could see that this, diamond here, which is the seed of the soul in human design, or the center for love and direction, is very focused now. I should have put Neptune also, very focused now on universal love. And how do we create an unconditionally loving field of energy that supports the planet, supports our lives, and supports one another while we're here on this planet? All right. Now, lastly, because I like to look at this too, is taking a look at the Sabian symbol. See, sometimes we can get a little more depth, like we looked at it through the astrology, and then we looked through human design and the gene keys, kind of getting, a little bit more focused in with the lens. And now, if we finally take a look at the Sabian symbol for the degree that the sun and moon are inhabiting, here's the symbol. It says an old fashioned well. So think of the imagery, an old fashioned well. I immediately think of the depth of the well, what's at the bottom of the well, maybe water, right? Something that is life giving. And then it also makes me think of what do I need? What tool, what skill do I need to get to the bottom of the well, to get the water up, right? So here we go. This symbol evokes a deep reservoir of inner wisdom and sustenance. It suggests the answers or nourishment you seek are already within and available, but you may need to draw them up with intention and effort. Just as a well must be approached with the right tools, there you go, and patience, your inner clarity and inspiration are accessible when you quiet the noise, reflect, and connect with your inner truth. For the Gemini new moon, this Sabian symbol beautifully complements the Gemini themes of curiosity and mental agility by reminding us that depth matters as much as breadth. Depth, deep, breadth, width. And it's not just about gathering information, it's about tapping into timeless wisdom and bringing it into the light. So those are that's our Sabian symbol for the new moon. So this is a profoundly mental kind of new moon, don't you think, right? With all of that Gemini energy, air energy, which is mind energy, full of mental clarity, potential, overwhelm perhaps, and opportunities for us to recalibrate our minds. But it's not just about the mind. Even though that seems to be the field it's playing in, the deeper message is this, is that your words are magic and your voice is kind of a spell. And now is the time to speak your new life into being. Speak it into being because words have power, right? And if your thoughts of a negative sort turn into words of a negative sort, then you're validating the negative and not the positive. So we get to recalibrate that this time with this new moon into creating a voice of positivity. So there you have that. All right, questions. Ask them away. I have two new decks of cards that I got yesterday from Hay House. I love it when they come in time for us to play with them. One is called Sisterhood of the Seers Oracle by Athena Laz, or Laz. I'm not sure how she says that. And I was really impressed with this deck. I did not play with this one too much yesterday, but I'm going to play with it this morning with you guys. Mindscapes Tarot by John Rice. And let's pull a card for the weekend and the new moon specifically. We'll just say for the weekend, including the new moon. And look how beautiful the back of the cards are. They're just gorgeous. And then the cards themselves are quite colorful and symbolic. So here we go. This will be, ooh, those just jumped out. Got two of them. Okay. We need, I can't even believe this one. Card 25, gate 25, right? And it says activate peace and calm. And the second card that fell out says reality mirrors you, card 21. So I'm going to read both. How's that? So the card 25, and here's the essential meaning. Meditation, calming your emotions, centered, a daily practice, still waters, focusing your attention on coming back to center, eye of the storm. And the message is, what would peace feel like in this situation? You have the innate ability to create calm and peace in your life, in your partnerships, emotions, and body. If a situation feels like it is totally out of your control, return to well-being by simply focusing on creating peace in your environment that you have to say that you have a say over, the environment that you have a say over, like your energy, like what you say, like how you react or respond. I didn't tell you guys at the beginning of the show here, but Terry was in the hospital earlier this week on Monday evening, afternoon, late, like 4 o'clock, something like that. I get this call that he is having what he thought was a heart attack because his chest was hurting so bad and he was dizzy, he lost vision. There was this like plethora of things that were happening, and I had to run and pick him up, take him to the hospital, where he ended up we spent the night at the hospital Monday night, didn't get to come, and then the whole day on Tuesday. So 2 days basically at the hospital. And I was in the unenviable position of having so much to do, yet having to put my attention elsewhere. And I think that this is the thing about our lives right now, that there's so much going on. Right, and any little thing like, well, this wasn't a little thing, and by the way, he was fine. He was not having a heart attack. He was not having a stroke. It was they named it a TIA, whatever, so they could have a label. I think he was stressed and was having a stress reaction or a panic reaction. But we have the choice in all of those moments. What is it that we're going to focus on? I had to focus on him in that moment, so everything else had to take the back seat. We are all probably going to be faced with situations like this over these next several days where we have to choose peace and calm. And let's see, return to nature and slow down to its pace. Lean against a tree and share your heart with it. Allow yourself to swim or float in a body of water. A shower can work in a pinch. Imagine that any and all negativity is leaving you as the water flows over your body. See angst swirl down the drain. Do this as a daily practice until peace becomes real for you. If you find yourself in a tense situation with another person, imagine the situation being resolved for both of you in a way that is mutually beneficial. If you cannot see that solution, surrender the situation to a higher power by simply invoking the following phrase: please bring peace to the situation that I am in with, name the person. Only good will come from this, and so it is. If your query is about larger forces at play, like world events, you can do your part by imagining peace and practicing right speech, as Buddhists suggest. It means loving speech, compassionate words, understanding, and integrity in everything you say. You are innately a kind soul, and because of this, you deserve to experience peace. And the meditation give us a meditation to do. Focus on waves of green and blue light flowing over your body in any pattern that feels soothing and calm. Extend this light out to any person or situation that needs peace. All right, and now on to the second card, which was 21. Reality mirrors you, right? See the eye in there. The essential meaning: growth. Reality mirrors you. You've got this. Paying attention to your vibrational frequency, sharing your heart with those you trust. And the message says, a big breakthrough is about to happen. Focus on achieving this breakthrough easily by first seeing it going well in your mind's eye. Trust that you can leap from point A to point B just as easily as you can make a cup of coffee. Could it be that simple? The answer is yes, but only if you believe it. Don't let any past experience or naysayers get in the way of this breakthrough. If need be, remain silent about what you are hoping to accomplish or receive or do. Or alternatively, only share your heartfelt inner truth with those who are rooting for you just as much as they would for themselves. You are on the cusp of meaningful change. Hold steady and stay the course because life is about to move you in an exceptionally beautiful way. Like a leaf that gently flows down a river, so too can this breakthrough feel peaceful. It is up to you to flow with these energies and to use this time to expand via this breakthrough. Stay awake and alert so you won't fall back into the old way of doing things. And if you have been living out an old story or pattern, get ready as you're about to script a new reality for yourself, one in which you get to write who you want to be. And isn't that delightful? There what does that say? There is no pattern, habit, behavior, or ceiling that cannot be broken. A pattern is simply a belief that gets reinforced. And when you decide to break through that habitual way of thinking, you step into a bright new future. Look at you go. And the affirmation: I allow this breakthrough to happen easily for me. Two great cards. Very, very good cards. And even though it's a little after 9, I think I will pull a Mindscape card just because I want to. I want to test it out. Oh, this is beautiful too. Does the inside say something? On the inside of the box, it says prepare to embark. I love it. Rainbows and birds, water, lots of good stuff. Okay. So this is a tarot deck. So it has the minor and the major arcana, and uh prop I think a few more cards have been added to this because oh, very cool. So I pulled the Empress. This is the Empress card, and it's card number 3 of the major arcana, and that looks lovely, like nature in its full glory, its beauty, its natural beauty. So let's see what the Empress card says for us. And I don't usually use tarot very often, at least as a card reading, but here we go. The key words for this card are about abundance, fertility, maternal care, femininity, birth, growth, nurturing, beauty, creativity, sensuality, and nature. The planet that it's associated with is Venus. The element is earth. And the symbols: nature, greenhouse, maternal figure, a pomegranate, trees. No, a pomegranate tree, wildflowers, flowing water, emerald green, and lilac. In a distant greenhouse, an ambiguous figure stands in bowed silhouette. Perhaps they are a gardener tending their blooms or a statue of Venus presiding over the atrium. Maybe they are pregnant or a nurse. Wildflowers and fruit bearing trees ensconce the conservatory. Emerald green for growth and abundance, and lilac for love and romance. Pomegranates glow ripe and red against lush foliage. A stream of water trickles softly down rock steps toward a pond at the base of the ravine. Mother Nature rules here, where all living things are nurtured and tended with loving care. Tend your own gardens and watch your life blossom before your eyes. Here's your action. Take 1 hour and spend that time in nature to ground yourself and enhance your connection with the natural world. Bring an element of nature into your home: a bouquet of wildflowers, some pretty leaves, an interesting rock. Try to conjure a natural sense of peace and loving care in your daily life. And here's the picture again of the card, right? They've got a gazebo. There's the figure back there, the water running down into the ravine. I think it backs up very nicely the other two cards. All right. That is it for me today. Remember, I probably will not be on Monday. Not sure when I'm coming back and whether I'll have time to prepare a show. So if I'm on, it'll be a great surprise. If not, I will be on Wednesday to talk about what's coming up for June and, of course, next Friday as well. Thank you all for joining me. It's been great. Have a great weekend. Bye.